go. Great to be talking to you after a weekend where we wrapped up the rugby championship. How significant is it in your view? Like, I mean, we've seen all the statistics. No side that's won the rugby championship has won the World Cup.
Yeah.
I don't read too much into that, but to win in Salta, like people underplayed. Like, I think the significance of that win. The performance was excellent. To put nearly 50 on Argentina in Argentina is significant. It says something, it means something, in my view at least. I don't know how you see that.
Yeah, I think it is in the context that we spoke last week about what the Boks would gain from a title success and obviously winning in Argentina. And for me, it was always about whether they would go there and win well, or whether it would be a scrappy win or just a narrow defeat, because they haven't always played so well in Argentina. But to go there and get what was the biggest winning margin under Rassie's tenure, and then afterwards to celebrate and get a trophy in your hand, which the South African team hasn't done in the Rugby Championship as it is now known since it expanded. For me, those are significant things. And I listened to some of the Boks when they came back, landed in South Africa and spoke, and Dwayne Vermeulen and Beast spoke about just the kind of the feeling of kind of celebrating, winning a trophy, having that confidence, and it's just all added to the mood. And I think we're going to chat more about the comment Beast made about the culture and the team spirit and environment, which he says is the best he's ever experienced.
Yeah, let's pick that up. That for me was like kind of an overlooked story, right? But it was extremely pertinent and significant because this is a guy that's in his 11th year as a Test rugby player. But more than that, he was in that 2009 group that won the Lions series and then went on to win the Rugby Championship. So when a guy like that, that speaks from kind of that point of authority, says something like that, it means something, right?
Sure.
So just for people who haven't seen the story, B said that this is the best environment that he's ever been involved in the Springbok context. And again, like just the significance of that in the context of everything he's achieved, everything that he's done in his career is, like, for me, it was big.
Yeah, and for me, watching that clip, it wasn't lip service or playing to the media. He was very emphatic about going, that is my truth that I'm speaking about, how good this environment is. So I think that speaks a lot to what Rassie and his management team have done. They've clearly created a culture where the players know exactly what is expected of them, not only in a game situation, but during training and preparation, a lot of off-field stuff. And Ed Smith also spoke about that exact thing of going, it's as players, it's wonderful to know that we not only going into a game with everything kind of ticked and all the T's and I's crossed and whatnot, but just during training being so well prepared and so much is going into that the training ground stuff that is giving them the confidence in game day. That for me, heading into a World Cup, certainly all the building blocks are there. But now we can maybe segue into our other talking point, which was, for me, an interesting story that broke this morning about Swys de Bruin, leaving the coaching group, because that is perhaps has almost been a perfect build-up until you kind of have a key management member leaving the group just a few weeks away from the World Cup squad announcement.
Yeah, look, I saw that story this morning, and immediately my mind went to what I thought was a really decisive action just before the 2007 World Cup, where Jake recruited Eddie Jones. And we were talking off camera about an evening that you spent at the Laureus, with the Laureus Foundation, where you got to chat to Skalk Burger, and you were just kind of like gushing about the impact that Eddie Jones had on that group. And I mean, I'm going to be quite controversial now in saying, like, I think we should shoot our shot in this sense now and look to a guy like Scott Robertson, for example, and go like, look, here's an opportunity for you to be involved in one of the elite rugby nations in the world. A side that has definitely got a chance of winning this competition, because there's got to be some sort of incentive for him as well. And a way to kind of grow your legend, really. Like, I think he's exceptional in everything that he's done. You don't win Super Rugby titles at the rate that he has without being exceptional, and everything that comes out of that camp speaks about him being central to that success. So I'm going big time here. I'm going like, let's get on the blower to Scott Robertson, going like, dude, here's an opportunity for you. and see what happens. There's no downside for us. The worst thing you can say is no. But if he agrees to come on board, it for me is a massive coup for the Boks.
Yeah, so I think that it would be a very innovative left field move, and if it could come off, that would be fantastic. But I can't really see Robertson, coming into a Springbok setup when he's probably got his sights set on being the next All Blacks coach. For me, my wish list would be a Johan Ackermann, a call to Johan Ackermann rather, and getting him into the setup from England where he's coaching there. So for me, that's kind of where my first pick would be.
Right.
I think he's obviously got probably contractual obligations to Gloucester and probably wouldn't be able to do that. Where I think it may well end up landing is probably to Deon Davids, who's left the Kings and then spent time in the Bok camp, kind of understudy, learning, spending time with the squad. And I know that Davids is probably the one guy who's available, hasn't really been part of the setup. It would be probably the likely and easiest option to bring Davids in. People have spoken of him potentially as the successor to Rassie Erasmus. For me, I think they might well end up with Davids because it does look like they'll bring in a replacement for Swys. But for me, it is quite a significant blow, and it will have an effect on the team in that Swys was obviously handling the attack. He's been there for a year. You can't take a member of your coaching staff out of a squad a month before a World Cup and it not have an effect. But how much of an effect will probably only really be able to tell maybe in the lead up and at the World Cup.
Yeah, and speaking about the lead up to the World Cup, there was a story again that broke just this morning. I mean, we're filming on a Wednesday, and it's about Vrede, right? He's only likely to be able to play again in 3 weeks' time. There is an interesting question: is he worth the risk? Like, my view is that he certainly is. I think he brings something to that back three that's dynamic and unpredictable. He's got an X factor. There's no question about that. For me, he's one of the best wingers in the world. Yeah. It makes him worth the risk. So whether he plays a couple of games or for the Lions before the World Cup, or I think there's only one opportunity for him to do that, but it's irrelevant. So we kind of got to ask ourselves, like, if he's not going to play and kind of trial that injury in the Currie Cup, then is he worth the risk of taking to Japan? My view is that he is. Yeah. So what's yours?
I think I differ slightly in that I've had a look at, I've kind of broken down what I think the 31-man squad will probably look like, and generally your divide is 17 forwards and 14 backs. So I've looked at the 14 backs I'd take, and it's almost at a point now where everyone, with Deontay excluded because of injury at the moment, everyone really warrants a place purely on merit and in terms of ensuring there's enough backup. I don't think in that breakdown, if it is 14, you can afford to take four wingers. So I think Mapimpi will definitely go as your first choice left wing, and Nkosi with Colby providing on the right wing. Then I think you go with those three wingers who are in form and have played and got game time under the belt, and then you probably have Jesse Krill providing backup on the wing if you need it. I just don't know if they can go with four wingers. It takes up almost too many places in that back division or the group you take to the World Cup. So I just don't know if he's got enough time to be taken. And he would be, I mean, it's 26th of August, they announced the squad. So he would have played no rugby for a good couple of months. Yeah. It's unthinkable, when you think back to, World Rugby's breakthrough player of the year. I just think they can't afford to risk someone who hasn't played a lot of rugby, and you're going, how much time do you need to get back to your best form? Yeah. And the first game is against the All Blacks, so you can't, that's not a slow, you build up against a weaker team. You can give them an 80-minute run and let them get some game time. I think that's the problem. The All Blacks first up, and just such limited places in the backs that you can take to the World Cup. Right.
So I don't envy Rassie and the selectors in that sense anyway. But just to wrap up, looking ahead at this weekend, what are the key kind of focus areas that we want to look at for this weekend? If you're in Rassie's shoes or the selector's shoes, what boxes are we looking to tick this weekend?
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't get overtaken, because we filming just before they're going to name the team to play, and obviously it's another important game, and that it's just another one of two warm-up games they've got left. For me, the boxes I'd want to tick is just really to expose a few fringe and 50-50 players and make final decisions, because I think the World Cup squad is probably 98-90% already decided. Yeah. But you probably want to see what Marcel Coetzee can do over an extended period,
Yeah.
what a Frans Steyn could do maybe starting and then shifting and playing at 10, can he provide backup there,
Yeah.
and a Kobus Reinach. Those for me are the three guys who are maybe on the edge of that World Cup squad, and I'd want to see them get a good hour of play at least under the belt, and then to make a final call based on what they produced there.
Yeah, I'd also like to just see the in addition to those players that you've mentioned, because they're the same players that I would think like it kind of at the forefront of my mind, but more than that, the consistency in being able to replicate that kind of general structure, that the way they want to play, with a team filled with kind of fringe players. But it's one thing having depth, but it's another thing having those players being able to replicate kind of a tactical, to operate within a tactical framework at the same or similar potency as what your AE team would be. So those things are really key for me, and we'll see, we'll have some more answers by next week. Thanks for your time, bro.
Thank you.